Fiverr. If you never heard about Fiverr, this will be useful. If you're already a seller on Fiverr, I'm going to also provide you some tips and strategies which you can use in order to really improve your Fiverr career. So guys, first thing, if you're already selling on Fiverr, just let me know. You can just type 1. If you're not selling on Fiverr, you can just type 0. Let's see. Okay, sounds good. So I see some people are new to Fiverr, some people are already selling on Fiverr, so that's going to be definitely useful. All right, let me start showing you my screen first, and of course me. So guys, thanks so much once again for joining. It's going to be exciting because this is the first launch as well of this program, and I'm going to explain to you. So this webinar is, of course, to provide you value, because I've been seller on Fiverr for a really long time, and it's the journey. It's been really inspiring. It's been really incredible, to be honest. And the thing is, what's crazy about it is that you can really build your career just using small things. You don't need to build multiple different businesses. You can just really put 100% in one thing and really have a big outcome from it. So that's how it played in my role, that I put 100% focus on Fiverr, and eventually I was able to build that business, that career. If you guys been following me, maybe possibly earlier, I've been really consistently on Instagram, on YouTube, always sharing my journey. So I'm going to show you a little bit about that and how it transformed my life as well. So let's just wait one more minute. I'm just going to briefly talk about it, and I'm going to get started with this webinar. So today I want to make sure you guys are fully familiar with Fiverr, what the marketplace, because to be honest, it's actually changed a lot. And when I started back in 2000, I believe it was like 13, that's where I actually started trying and testing different gigs. It was completely different than now. Now it's really transformed, and I see Fiverr, they're also transforming into like a bigger marketplace and trying to really bring more sellers, bring more successful sellers, bring possibly like people who've been maybe in a corporate before and then they decided to go freelancing. So it's definitely gonna go in the right direction. I know, obviously, it's been a long time because the platform was like for $5, people who started with $5. So of course there is different kind of sellers, and what I see right now, still there's a lot of opportunities. There is a lot of room for growth. And even if you're, let's say, like a graphic designer, because graphic design is very popular, it's extremely popular, but you still have a lot of room for improvement and for potential business. All right, so we're good to go. Let me just start moving my screen. Okay, here. All right, let's see. Works. Perfect. So if you're going to stay until the end of the webinar, of course, there has to be some initiative, right? So if you're going to stay until the end of the webinar, you're going to actually get this upselling template for free. So we've been, I'm talking about we because I'm not alone now. I have my team as well, and been working on Fiverr, really, trying to understand each buyer and how we can possibly offer more service, how we can convert into a longer term plans. So of course, this is all possible, and I'm going to provide you one of the templates which actually worked in my case. So it could be out of curiosity if you could stay, or if you're just interested to see what exactly I'm doing, you can just stay until the end, and I'm going to share that template for you. So my story, it's important to talk about that because obviously you guys, a lot of you don't know who I am, you don't know what I do, and that's important to tell because my career started with me actually playing professional tennis player. I mean, I played college tennis, but before college tennis, I played professional tennis. I was traveling, and I really, I see myself as a professional tennis player. I never saw myself as a freelancer, as an entrepreneur, as a digital marketer, right? So my story was a little bit different, and that's how I got started. And when I was at college, I always wanted to find something that I could be passionate in. I wanted to also have some sort of freedom where I can maybe go to some place, or maybe I can just, I don't know, buy a ticket, because I'm from Russia originally, so I had to travel then there. So of course, I always wanted to develop my own kind of hustle, my own gig. And that's how I found about Fiverr. So I went on the platform, started researching what I could be passionate about, what things I could be good at. And literally, I was just testing different services. I was trying to do graphic design. I was trying to do video production, right? And all of these things were failing pretty much because I remember I had one first order. That's actually interesting. First order on Fiverr. The client orders $5 to create like a design for a T-shirt, and basically I said, okay, let's do it. And it took me like over a week to do it, and I couldn't sleep. I was constantly working. I was just constantly trying to improve and develop it, and eventually I did it. But I realized that it's not my thing. Like, I'm not really passionate about it. I won't be able to do another project because I was like so exhausted from 1 week of doing that. So I was like, no chance I'm gonna do something again. So I tried other things. I tried video production. I tried many things, and they were all failing. They were all failing. So then eventually I started to, also like see what I can be passionate. I had my hobbies. I was on Instagram. I was always scrolling. I was helping my physical coach who was training me with his side business. So I was growing his Instagram. I was trying to improve it, and eventually I found the success. So now I'm a top rate seller on Fiverr. I was able to reach over $1 million on Fiverr, the really big and exciting milestone for me that happened this year in February. And now it's just been over 19,000 of different orders completed, and literally the journey just turned around. And this is like been happening for the past 3 years. It hasn't been like for that many years. And the amount of connections I got, the amount of network clients, and not only like Fortune 500 companies like Marriott, like Holiday Inn, like those companies are there. They are there, and it's very important to understand that Fiverr, they're gonna keep growing, especially after they went public on the IPO. They're gonna keep growing. So there is definitely a lot of room and a lot of opportunities there, and you can be noticed by a really big companies. But before you can be noticed, you need to do a lot of good work on your own profile. So of course it starts with optimizing. It starts to being understand how you can structure yourself. So what I really always suggest, you go as a personal brand. So you go as a personal brand, you go as you as a person, because that way you build a really huge credibility around you, because they're going to remember your name. So the only thing I regret, I did put Vasily 17 when I registered on Fiverr, because you can't change it. So if you're new to Fiverr, be careful choosing your name. So if you could go with your first last name, maybe, right? That could be good, because people are searching on you. People are gonna go and search for who is Vasily 17, for what he's doing outside of Fiverr, right? And that's why I have my Instagram. It's also Vasily 17, and all these things are connecting. And then people are able to find me. They're able to connect it and understand who I am. So of course, with me, started to develop my career, becoming a top-rate seller, I started to also get invitations to conferences. I'll start to speak at different conferences, and this all started coming from Fiverr. So this is like you building your reputation, but you also building your portfolio. Because when I was actually still in college, I was doing Fiverr, and then I was applying for jobs. So what I was doing, I was sending my resume. Actually, sorry, not the resume, my profile on Fiverr as the resume. I was just sending that, and I was getting accepted at different jobs in US. And this is really inspiring as well, because you build this a huge portfolio around you. So I start to get gigs. I was speaking in London last year, and it's been just an incredible journey. And especially recently, actually not looking at the picture, but recently I've been invited to New York Stock Exchange, and I was there with Micha, with all the top sellers there, with all the employers as well. It's just been an incredible journey, and this is the biggest highlight of course of my career. And I realized that I could bring a lot of as well, like, because when I started, I never had someone who could guide me, who could tell me, like, who could share the same experience. I was doing a lot of risks, and I do make mistakes. Like, I still look back at my journey on Fiverr and say, oh, I wish I could be maybe done this differently. And that's why I'm here. That's why I want to show you guys and teach you, so you don't put similar, like you don't make similar mistakes. You try to avoid it, but you learn as well from my experience, from my knowledge, but at the same time you understand your path, and this is the most important. So of course, you know, I was afterwards invited for an interview. This was in New York just a few weeks ago, and as you probably seen in the news, Fiverr went public, and that's the most exciting thing. Of course, you know, it's a big thing for the company, and for me, being a seller, just being a student at university, like, you know, 2 years ago, I graduated from university, and before that, I started another 2 years ago from university. I started my career, and then I'm there at the New York Stock Exchange, ringing the bell, and like you just, it's incredible. You know, I just can't describe the emotions. So I'm telling you this, that it is possible, right? It is possible. The only thing I learned, the very big thing is you have to, when you start something, when you're working something, you have to really focus on this 100%. You can't be, you know, spreading at the beginning, doing like, I don't know, let's say you're doing e-commerce, right? Then you're doing freelancing, then you're doing that. You know, if you're just one person by yourself and you're trying to cover all of this, eventually you're not going to be that successful, right? So you have to go put 100% in one thing, build it, structure it, and then from that thing you can start differentiating, and you can start really building more and more businesses. I'm very familiar, like I'm doing also e-commerce, I'm doing other stuff, like I know this industry, right? But the reason I'm here is to tell you that there's a lot of opportunities, especially if you're a freelancer, especially just if you're looking for a side hustle. There's a lot of opportunity of going freelancing right now on platform like Fiverr. So I'm sure you heard like Amazon, FBA, like all these different programs. They're becoming more and more popular, and more people are teaching about that, right? But actually about Fiverr, you don't find many programs. You don't find really any courses who are going to be really useful to you. You will see people talking like on Udemy, you see some courses, but they're very outdated. There is no really and actual value. So that's why I want to show you what you can achieve with Fiverr and how I can help you as well with that. So this is my profile, how it looks. So of course I'm looking from a seller view. So if you go to the public view, you'll see all my videos. And if you just go at the profile right now, you'll also see the videos. And what's very important from my career is of course personal brand. Of course, going me as a person, as an expert, and that way I'm really differentiating from all of other sellers. Because if you go, and we're gonna take a look at that as well. If you go on a Fiverr, on the platform, you will see that a lot of sellers, they just don't, you know, they have some sort of pictures, but you don't really see a person there. You don't really see an expert. Of course, you have a pro section, which is a totally different thing. Fiverr has launched this a pro, where you can actually go and hire freelancers who are much more, let's say, achieved some really big, I don't know, like certified in Google and been working maybe for Google, and then decided to do like a freelancing. So there's definitely, you know, a lot of opportunities there. So let's actually, let me take a small break. Guys, I know some people are joining, so just write in the chat one more time. If you're selling on Fiverr, just put 1. If you're not, just put 0, so I can see how many of you are actually already selling, or if you're not selling, just let me know as well. Okay. So I see quite a lot of, I mean, I would say half and half. People are selling and some people are not selling in Fiverr. So I will try to make it both useful so you guys can, you know, see and understand. So let me go on Fiverr here. So what we see first, right? We see different services, we see different categories, right? Recently they launched this gaming category. This is actually huge. So that's why, you know, when you're in a marketplace, you have this, you know, competition, right? But you have to look at this. You have to look at different subcategories, at the other categories. That's how you can really differentiate. Because eventually, what I can say from my experience, I became really successful, right, in like social media marketing, but I put all my focus there. I put 100% of my focus there, right? And that could also hurt me, because if some of my gigs are not doing well, you know, then basically I'm affected by that. That's why you need to try and differentiate. You can go with different subcategories, you can go with different categories, but you need to try and differentiate eventually if you want to keep scaling that. And going back to this, you know, you have those categories, right? They're very becoming, I listed some of them, like social media marketing, becoming very popular, especially if you're don't know what to do, where to go. You need to look at those high like industries, niches. You have social media marketing, you have programming, you have, creating like funnels, like web programming, right? Podcasts are becoming more and more popular. So you can create a lot of services around it. Video production, it's very big, right? You have a lot of stuff there. You can do shooting the videos, you can do editing the videos, you can do visual effects. So there's a lot of things there. Logo animation, I listed because that's actually where one of my new services gigs are, and I see there is a really good flow there. And there's, of course, there are more. So let's go, and I just want to show you some of the ones, and let's just look at the categories. So let's say even, for example, we can go at programming, right? So once you click at programming, you have different things. WordPress, it's becoming super, super popular. Let's go at website builders, and let's go at web programming. E-commerce is also interesting to look at. So what we see here, first thing, when you're a seller, you look at this, Fiverr is going to give you recommended. But usually if you're buying, you're going to see a best selling, right? So what do you see here? You see people, pictures, right? So it's actually, it's changing a little bit now, because people realize that they need to really go more as their personal brands. And that's why they're putting themselves out there. So this is one of the most important things. You need to put your face, not another person's face or like your actual face. But it depends on your service, because for example, there are services where, let's say we go for logo animation, right? Where it doesn't really necessarily needs to be your face, right? It more needs to be something catchy. So what I can see from here, right? For example, custom logo animation. So that's what grabs my attention most, because I look at this and I see custom logo animation. So this is also important to look. So if you're, for example, in my case, right, I started as a digital marketer, so I had to put my face, I had to show who I am so people can build trust. But if you're, for example, doing graphic designs and some sort of design thing, you have to kind of like, complement with that. So you have to provide some visuals so people can look at it and say, like, wow, this is actually nice, or I want to click on it. This is very important. That's why on Fiverr, you need to keep testing that. You can't just put one picture and that's it. I've been constantly changing that. And actually Fiverr right now, I have my as well customer success manager who guides me as well and tells me like certain things we possibly need to work on and the direction we need to go. So there is actually a data on how many people, basically how good is the picture you're or not. So this is super important. For example, I just opened this gig. Let's see, custom logo animation, then he has the video, she has the video, and then the list of the packages, right? So very important, make sure you have a really good video or a picture. If you're not comfortable, actually, if you're watching this webinar, I'm gonna send you later one of my very first videos of how I started. It looks really funny to me, but this is the thing, you need to start somewhere. Don't think that you're going to make everything perfect. You just need to start, you need to learn, and then eventually you become more and more successful. So very important to look at these things. And when we go, for example, best selling, right, we can see the top performing gigs. So you can see already they're doing really good job. They're doing, for example, this is also important, make sure it fits the right format. You have to keep checking that. All these small details, they play a huge role. This is super important. Let's go quickly, for example, e-commerce, right? And as you know, drop shipping, very popular right now, right? It's becoming like a boom, I would say. You can find a lot of services in there. There's constantly, I'm getting constantly every single day messages about like drop shipping, and how it's basically, okay, actually, let's see. Guys, we're not able to see the slides. Okay, so now I think you're able to see the slides. Let me just double check. Okay, just 1 second. I'll pause. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, guys, a little small technical detail, but able to solve it now. Okay, so let me quickly switch to the other screen. And sorry, guys, that's the thing, in the webinars, you have to sometimes things don't go as expected. So let me just quickly switch to. Thanks for telling me, I didn't actually pay attention. Okay, so now you see that, right? Now you see the gigs page. So I was, this is very important. When you go there and see, at the best selling, you basically, you realize that what gigs are working the best. And the niches are becoming different. Like drop shipping is going crazy right now. There is creating funnels, right? This is another category where it's also booming. And you have to look at the trends. You have to be able to look at the trends and see what you could potentially create, because as you see, funnels are becoming popular. So this is tells you that, okay, we have to come up with a service which will create funnels. We have to learn that. And this is the best, because on Fiverr, you not only can see what's happening in the market, but you also discipline yourself. Because when when you have a lot of orders, usually you have deliveries every single day. Like, you have to deliver them, you have to deliver that order, and you are basically disciplining yourself, because you want to become top rated seller, you want to become a pro seller, and you have to constantly maintain those rates. You have to respond very fast, you have to respond also like as fast as you can. You have to have a lower cancellations as well. This is crucial. And then you become disciplined, because you have those times where you need to do this work every single day and really constantly improve. So that's actually creates a good habit, because if you're building it outside of platforms on your own website, you have your own full control, right? But you also don't feel that discipline sometimes, maybe. So I'm telling you that going on the platform is definitely a good option. You don't need, let's say you're already selling on your website, right? And you decide to go on the platform. So it doesn't mean that you have to stop, whatever you do on the website, but this creates another traffic. And when your gigs are high, the best thing about it, you're going to get a lot of traffic. So every single day when my gigs are high, I'm getting at least 15 to 30 orders per day. And imagine if you're running your own website, that's basically like spending constantly advertising on promoting your services and getting clients. So this is super important. All right, so let's go into this and show you another thing. One of the most important when you're creating your gig is to have an idea already what it will look like, what the structure will be. So you have to work eventually on recurring retainer model. This is, for me, was one of the key reaching that milestone, because if your gig is not recurring, it's only one time, you're missing a lot of opportunities. So if you're doing a service, right, if you're doing let's say, I don't know, management of social media, you can become this, it could become a recurring service, right? They could pay you every single month and you continue your work. And I'm going to tell you that Fiverr, because I've been really talking about that, I've been pushing that a lot. Fiverr, they're gonna soon, hopefully they're gonna soon, I don't know, maybe tomorrow, maybe in a week, maybe in a month, but they will implement that system where it could become recurring. So they don't need to create offers every single day. Basically, you create one offer, you agree on what the client will pay, and then it's going to pay until he decides or she decides to cancel. So recurring model is very important. And the funny fact on Fiverr, the best thing about Fiverr, if I'm comparing this to Upwork, because on Upwork, I also started my career on Upwork, and I eventually dropped it because the problem with Upwork, people go to you, they pay you like per hour, and that's it, right? They pay you per hour, they pay you per project, and that's it. On Fiverr, you are kind of your face, but you're offering possibilities to people go there and buy your service, and you do that. So it's much more scalable in terms of business, and you can create a lot of different gigs. And one of my gigs, even selling a course. I'm selling my course about Instagram marketing on Fiverr, and I'm actually having much better results than on other platforms. So it's you have to be experimenting. When I started my gig on Fiverr about Instagram, I was one of the first people. So if you feel, for example, courses, you can also go and launch a course as an extra gig, and you can get potential extra income from that. And then eventually this course will be pushed. And then you can change this and maybe turn into like consulting, and you can also do that. So this is all possible. Look for the trending topics. As I was saying, funnels becoming like drop shipping, like a lot of people do drop shipping, e-commerce. You can find a lot of services. Amazon is booming right now, right? For example, let me show you this. This is very cool. When you go for, let's see, product photography, I know it's not for everyone, right? But that's what Fiverr is also. They're launching new constant subcategories. And I was just, looking, I see so many orders, because you have to do analyze. That's the most important. You cannot just be doing orders and that's it. You have to analyze the market, and you have to look what other people are doing. So I noticed that it's becoming really, even if you don't see, right now, large number of orders in queues, but this category, I started to look at it and started to become, because you can see that, the number of reviews are, I would say, average is pretty high compared to like other subcategories. So that means it's working. So there's definitely a lot of opportunities. And one of the most important things is creating gig extra strategy. So let me show you actually one of my gigs. So let me go into the gig section, go to the gigs. And so I want to show you this fact. It's very important, because when you're creating your, let me actually go and edit here. When you're creating your gig, you need to work on your extras. This is most important, because you're not gonna get the most money people buying your package, but you're gonna also get a lot of that by upselling. So this is my small kind of like a strategy of upselling. So I'm of course using different like stars, different things. But I would say that the writing is so important. Like, try to invest a lot into that. Don't just go and put any name and that's it. Try and go and optimize. For example, put a small keywords, let's say best value and maximum engagement. Don't lie, don't say like just over promised and then don't deliver it. But if it's, for example, something special about that extra, go ahead and mention that. And you can always test pricing. You can always test that. I'm constantly as well testing the prices, because this is very important. And you will realize that potentially your career on Fiverr is going to develop, not just people buying your service at that price, but because they're going and ordering this extra services. So this is so important. Go ahead and really build and really test that as well. Very important. More value than describe. I think this is the key. When you're starting, especially, you have to try and come up with a gig where you can still provide more value than is described. So it's either by working more, like let's say you're, instead of 30 days, you work 40 days on the account. Maybe instead of one design, you create another as a bonus, or maybe you provide some sort of PDF strategy as well, like a small PDF. You write, you spend maybe a few minutes to create, but you send it as a bonus. That's very important, because those small details, that's what clients gonna appreciate. That's where they can leave the tips as well. Sometimes, I'm getting tips. I don't say it's often, like I don't get often that, but sometimes the client could leave like $50 tip to you. And imagine, like maybe your order was like $50 and then he decides to leave. You have clients like this. That's why it's important you go on Fiverr as a professional. You develop your personal brand. Not That's why like I see a lot of brands, like just company names go on Fiverr, and it's not easy, because when you're a company brand, it's harder to get that competitive advantage. But if you're a person, you build a personal brand, and on Fiverr, that's more scalable. I don't say don't do companies that, but I was doing it differently, and I see that what clients are saying, they remember you as a person, because what you do in Fiverr, you want to still keep and eventually build it afterwards. People can hear you outside, you get publications, you get there. This is very important. So go as a personal brand. This is one of the keys. And when you're structuring your gig, very important, like you have to like go in depth. You always have to fill this FAQ form. This is most important. Like, it's basic stuff, but then when you fill all of this, when you provide all this information, you're going to get less generic messages. You're going to get less just random kind of messages, because they will see that people are look at those things. And another thing, what's great about Fiverr is that you can do a really good integration with YouTube. So I have this FAQ. It's over 30 minutes of question and answer, and I'm literally going over like every possible detail that could happen, and people actually look at this. You can see the number of views. Actually, I'm a little bit not shocked but surprised now, because I haven't looked at this lately, but a lot of people are actually looking at these numbers. And it's very important, because you can share YouTube on your description. You can share YouTube anywhere else on Fiverr as well, and I highly suggest to do that. Because one of the good examples, there is a this guy Dominic. I don't know if you heard about him or not, but this is one of the ways you can promote your gigs, right? So you can bring people to from Fiverr and showcase, you know, different information, different videos. But also to grow traffic to Fiverr, you have to create a channel which gonna be niche you're in. So if it's like design, if it's programming, if it's I don't know, creating funnels, and go ahead and post your content about that. Go, because this person like Dominic, he's very, I would say, in depth about Instagram. That's the only thing he's doing. And YouTube are really favoring now the channels which are more in the niche. Because if you post about everything, like your blogs, your, actually what I'm doing, because I'm trying to mix everything and it's not working super well because it's becoming a little bit generic. So if you go into the niche and say, for example, Instagram, okay, you just post everything about Instagram, then what he's doing, very interesting. So he's talking about different things, like about Instagram, right? So he has different format. He's in studio, he's like a blog style, and then he leads traffic to his website where it's a master like mind program and things like that. So I was actually doing some tests as well with my channel, bringing traffic to Fiverr. And when you do that, you have to make sure that you have the BYOB program enabled. So this is also very important. If you don't have BYOB and you're trying to bring traffic, that's basically useless. So when you go more, you have BYOB. This is important because when you bring people from outside to your Fiverr, you can still get 100% commission. You can still get that, but you have to use these BYOB links. Unfortunately, you can't really tell before if the person was on Fiverr or not. So there's like some sort of a lottery, but still you can bring it. I'm doing that very a lot, I would say. If you look at my Instagram, if you as well, you can look at my journey, and it's actually been all happening here. You know, it's all been, all the journeys on my Instagram, my YouTube. So literally I have the very first video when I just was finishing university on my YouTube channel. If you go my YouTube channel here, the very first video, that was actually a year, but that was more than a year now. That was more than a year ago, where I just came back and started. So it's inspiring. So I also encourage you to do this. Start, document your journey. This is inspiring. But on my Instagram, I'm constantly sharing, for example, reviews, right? I have the reviews, and then every single story that leads to my Fiverr deal. So not to my Fiverr account, but to that gig. Because if you lead people to your profile, they have a lot of options to do. You have to bring them to one exact deal, which is, for example, growing your Instagram or doing other things. So if you take a look at my Instagram, you will see this highlight. It's not loading now, but if you take a look at it, you will see that I have all these reviews, and then people lead to certain deals, certain offers. You can also create custom offers on BYOB. This is also important. So when you're in BYOB, you can create an offer and then choose which gig and then bring people there. So this is very important. You know, you can literally nowadays, and I think Fiverr, I mean, they're obviously still growing. Like there's a lot of things will be implemented. And, you know, the best thing I learned is you have to just constantly, you know, have one vision, one goal. Okay, becoming top rate seller, and you go there. That's your goal. You have to become top rate seller. And this is my goal now. We're actually working. I'm working on the pro gigs, on the pro services. So this is my goal now, and I'm doing my best. I'm doing everything possible, and I think I will get it. So eventually, sometimes, you know, if you apply for pro, you can get denied. You can apply again, but you have to keep learning and keep improving that. So with that said, you know, the number one thing, what I will tell you, when you're become like a freelancer, successful freelancer on Fiverr, you need to scale one thing, which will really bring you to the 7-figure mark. And guess what that thing is? Scaling. That's your team. This is very important. You know, you need to be able to delegate. You need to be able to scale the team. So this is this is actually one of our trips to the Philippines. So we have a team in the Philippines. We have a team in Russia. You know, we are growing. And I realized that you need to, especially like your very first person, right? And when you look at, for example, at what's happening in the Philippines, they're very competitive. A lot of freelancers, a lot of work. So you can go and literally you can, you know, find your first VA who's going to help you. Nina, she was my first, basically together with Konstantin, they were my first people who, you know, I started work with. And Nina, she was helping me with some sort of, you know, fulfillments on some orders. And she was just like, we're constantly, you know, trying to as well improve the service and she was very, very nice in helping that. And then I realized that, okay, this is interesting. Could be something, maybe potential team from there. So then I went to the Philippines and met her in person. And then eventually in one of my videos, I'll just briefly show you here, that's where I actually went and start interviewing, talking with other people and seeing what's happening there. And after that trip, it was 4 days trip, I was able to hire 4 people straight away, together with Nina, so 3 people. So Nina was already working with me, and then we got 3 more people. So this is really, tells me that it's possible, and for you as well, if you're struggling, if you're just by yourself and you feel like, okay, you have so much on you, just go break the things you have. So let's say, okay, you have this task, you have this task, you have this task, and then look at what you could potentially delegate to your team member who can help you, so you can continue focus on building your career, building your strategy. This is so important. If you're gonna always every single day do the same thing all over and over again, eventually you're not gonna grow. So this is, of course, maybe it's not for you right now, right? It's absolutely fine. It's not for you right now, but eventually you need to have that goal where you can bring people, build a team as well who could help you and scale your services. So this is very important. And you can actually look at this video. I think it will help you if you're looking to hire a first team member and just start with a team, because that's the goal. Yeah. So let me know if maybe you have a team member now. Just let me know if you do. If you're not, I think it's very important. You have to grow your team as well with not just crazy, hiring everyone, but you have to understand what one person could bring you, what kind of value, what kind of return as well. And you have to trust people. That's the thing. Sometimes you could turn you around maybe, but you still need to trust. You need to trust people. You need to really, be open and talk about these things. And it's all possible. I'm gonna tell you, it's all possible. So just going back a little bit, one more time, this is very important. Start as a personal brand. Go ahead and start as a personal brand. Think about username, because username can be changed. So you have to think really good about it. Test different gigs. I launched with graphic design. I launched with video production. I launched with giving out flyers. I was giving out flyers on the street, and then I was like, what I'm doing, like it's not gonna work in the long term. So you have to test different gigs. The best thing on Fiverr is that you have this traffic, you can launch a gig, you can test it, you can see, okay, it's working well, I see I can really scale it, or not, it's not working, let's try something else. This is the best thing about the marketplace, that you can test yourself, your skills as well. And if your hobby, let's say you're like drawing, go on the marketplace. If you like drawing, just go on the marketplace and launch your service. Don't need to create a website, you don't need to create run Facebook ads. You don't need to, just go and put your gig there and start connecting with people. Because if you go on Fiverr, you will see a lot of different services. Some of them are, if you go like in lifestyle, I mean, I'm not telling you like go and create like different kind of this service, but maybe they could be good to try and see, because I haven't experienced many categories yet. But of course, like graphics design is very popular. There's a lot of competition, but still you see new categories. That's what you have to look for. And especially, for example, for me, influencer marketing is something that is still young, still like not been growing exponentially. And you can already see, for example, you can just do analyze, see what are gigs. Okay, you have this picture, how you can improve it, how you can make it better, because you have to always try and strive for better quality and being professional, and really look at the optimization part, because that's where I'm telling you, on Fiverr, I've been getting a lot of like sometimes clients which I'll never imagine, like for example, what I was saying, Fortune 500 companies, like the big corporations, even like Google, Facebook, they're looking for freelancers on Fiverr. They're looking, and it's crazy. You never know. So you have to be ready. You have to have everything optimized, everything right in place. This is the most important thing. And going back, include the videos, please. When you're starting to, develop your career, please include the videos. This is the most important. Doesn't matter if you're not comfortable speaking, if you're afraid, include the video, because you're gonna earn really good credibility, trust, especially at the beginning. They're gonna see you. They're gonna see how you're speaking, how you're talking in terms of like you're an actual person. Because many people, they I mean, right now Fiverr started to be really strict on this. They try to check ID, verifications, everything, but include the videos. I also have a process where I basically, it's like the whole experience. When the client orders, there's a different types of videos, and I show that in my program. I show exactly what you should be doing. So that's, I think this kind of information is very valuable, and it's not available because there's no one have ever done something like this. And YouTube, use YouTube. YouTube is your best friend in terms of with the Fiverr. They're very loyal. You know, you can include the videos, you can do a lot of stuff. You know, if you just even created even if you want to grow your YouTube channel, you know, you can still send people to your YouTube. It's perfectly fine. And the same way around, YouTube to your Fiverr gigs. Talk about, okay, best ways to grow your let's say I'm an Instagram, right? Best ways to grow your Instagram account in 2019, and then lead to your to the gig, right? For example, I don't know, perfect Amazon, like why I don't know, copywriting with like if you're selling on Amazon, why copywriting is important, or why quality pictures are important. Just, you know, talk about that, and then go and lead traffic to your gigs. So very important. Let me know if you have any questions, specific questions, or anything you don't understand or wanting to cover. I hope, you know, with this kind of like overview, you are able to understand, because for me, you know, right now, there's a lot of new categories, and you can see, especially with the gaming, and that's the thing, you should be trying to differentiating as well. If you're already, let's say, really deep in one niche, and you see you're very consistent, you're good, but you don't see a more growth, right? So that tells you, okay, this is good time to look for other subcategories or other categories, because you will find, you know, a really maybe different traffic or maybe bigger traffic. And of course, that's, you know, from all this experience, that's why I went and decided to create a program which will really help you to understand all of this, because I believe providing value and having community and having some sort of expertise is the best thing. Because I never had that. I didn't have that. I made a lot of mistakes. I wanted to quit Fiverr a lot of times. I wanted to, you know, I just basically, it was lack of support. It was lack of I would say understanding what's happening there. So that's why, you know, I want to help you guys as well to understand this and really be able to turn your career and build it to the next level. So I have this offer, and you know, this is something. Of course, you've been following already the landing page. So if you actually go right now at Freelance Hustle, you will see you don't see any more swipe up for the webinar, right? So I want to do those kind of more webinars to teach you. But what is the best thing about it is I'm trying to develop this right now, the community and the program I've been working for the past months. It's honestly like, I think it's one of the most valuable what you can find in Fiverr, and we have put a lot of work all together with the team. So right now, what I'm talking about, so there's a program which I created, right? So you have the lifetime access to all the lectures, you have all the updates as well. Basically, every time, like the course, it's the course, right? So this is all the materials you have, and it's going to be constantly updated. I'm going to actually go, and every time there's something new, I'm going to go ahead and update it. So you have all the access to this material, plus private Facebook group. I think this is most important, having that strong community dedicated on helping each other, growing. And as well, if you know, if you have problems, you're stuck, you don't know where to go, community is your choice, because we're sellers and I'm bringing top rate sellers. I'm going to try to bring pro sellers there. So eventually this is a win-win situation for everyone, because everyone learning from each other's journey, and eventually you're going to grow as well yours. So you have direct help and assistance. I'm also providing you Instagram marketing course and Instagram stories course. This is an additional bonus, so you can actually know and learn how you can grow your Instagram as well, how you can, you know, build your structure with the stories. So it's not $497, right? So the $497 is the original price, because you guys obviously watch the webinar. So you're getting this with $100 off discount right now. And this is, I would say, you know, incredible, because if I could get that investment when I just started and had all of that support, all of that materials, I will probably move on much faster right now. And for you is the same. You think about this as an investment in any type of business, but you have this a lifetime access. So I'm always going to be there. I'm going to always be in a weekly Q&A live with me, and I want to share my experience, because a lot of stuff which I found about Fiverr, I want to share it as well, because I feel it could be valuable for a lot of other sellers. So guys, like I said, you stayed until the end. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. You can go to the freelancehustle.com/upsell, and you just can get that the template for free. So just take a screenshot, or just remember about this. You can go ahead. You can take that template. It's just an additional bonus just to see. And I'm gonna work on the new templates. I'm gonna work on new things, and that's what, of course, I wanna provide in the community more and more. So please let me know if you have any questions. If you actually go in the program right now, so if you go to the Freelance Hustle right now, the website, right, and you will see it's $497, right? But you have the special link in your email address. So if you have the special link, you can just type webinar in the coupon code, and it's gonna take $100 off. So guys, thank you so much. I'm gonna continue doing the webinars, because I feel it's really valuable. So to show the journey as well. And it's not necessarily like doing free webinars. Like I feel like there's a lot of value you could also bring. You can really connect with your audience. And if you want to learn as well about like doing webinars, I'm using Zoom right now. Actually, it's not bad. I think I tried others, but if you want to follow my journey, go on Instagram. I always share constantly every single day about good stuff, something happened about Fiverr, things like that. So I'm sure you'll find it useful. So let me know if you have any questions or anything. I'll be happy to quickly answer and describe. If you don't have any questions, I wanted to say to you, thanks for staying. I know it's been quite a long time, but I really appreciate everyone who stayed for this webinar. If you have any requests, you can always actually reach me through Instagram and just message me, and I'll be happy to get back to you. Or you can just reply to the emails which you were receiving prior to getting the webinars. So guys, thank you so much. If you don't have any questions, then hopefully I'll see you in the program. Hopefully you will ask me later. And I really appreciate everyone staying until the end. And once again, guys, take care, and thanks for everything. Thank you, guys.